Hey everybody, my name is Joe. I'm a doctoral student studying clinical psychology, and this is Psych Made Simple. Today we're going to talk about the age old question, does money buy happiness? Maybe not fully answer it, but talk about it and help you kind of understand or think about it. I think it's helpful to start by talking about what even is happiness, right? I think a helpful definition is that happiness is need fulfillment. So basically, we're happier as we meet more of these needs. And over here, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It starts on the bottom with things like food and shelter, eventually, gets up to these meaningful relationships and feelings of self-esteem, and ultimately at the top is reaching your full potential as a human. And as you move up this pyramid, you feel happier, right? Because more and more of these needs are met. And you couldn't really get to something like self esteem or self actualization before you have your safety and, having food and water, things like that. So having those basic needs met is really important to get to these higher levels of fulfillment. And a lot of times in different studies, people have found that money and happiness, the curve looks something like this, right? So at the very low levels of the amount of income that you make, you're not going to be, very happy typically. This is just on average. Let's say once you get to about 100,000, then you're going to be a lot happier than you were at zero. But if you go up to 200,000, it doesn't really make you that much happier. On this chart, it's going up from like maybe 6.9 to 7.3, something like that, right? So doubling your money here doesn't make a huge impact on your happiness on average. But doubling your money from 100,000 to 50,000 makes a bigger impact. 50,000 from 25,000 makes a very big impact, right, on your happiness. So wealth does correlate to happiness, but it's especially true at the level where we're trying to meet those basic needs, right? Because I think once we get to a point where this chart starts getting a lot more flat, then these basic needs have been met. You're not really worried about your security. You've got food and water figured out. But now you're trying to look to meet those psychological needs. And I think a helpful line of research in thinking about, okay, once we get here, how do wealth and income and happiness connect? A helpful line of research here is Kasser and Ryan. They've done research on extrinsic and intrinsic aspirations. By their definition, going along with this same conversation about need fulfillment, they define extrinsic aspirations as things that don't necessarily fulfill a need in themselves, right? But because they give you some power, that might help you fulfill a need. Whereas intrinsic aspirations, and aspiration just means goal or value, something like that. Your intrinsic aspirations, such as community contributions, personal growth, meaningful relationships, those are inherently need fulfilling. So, just in itself, if you have a really meaningful relationship, like someone you love or your children, things like that, those relationships just inherently make you happy, right? And just engaging in those more, it's going to make you happy. On the other hand, things like wealth, fame, image, and of course, what we're talking about here would be wealth. It doesn't necessarily make you happier to just have more money, but any of those three, include wealth, fame, or image, can give you some power to exercise your will in different situations, right? So if you do have more money, you might be able to, for example, donate more money to something that's really meaningful to you. So that might fit into this like community contributions situation, or invest in a certain project, in your hometown or something like that, that really makes a big impact and you can see that impact, right? So that can make you happier. So I think it's kind of interesting to look at that difference between extrinsic aspirations and intrinsic aspirations. And I think wealth can help us, fulfill these higher level needs, whether it be relationships, self-esteem, fully reaching our potential. But it doesn't happen automatically. We need to exercise our will and use, the power that we have, which in this case would be, the wealth that we have, to fulfill these intrinsic aspirations. So just to kind of summarize, as you get up to about maybe 100,000 on this chart, this is just one chart, but as you get to maybe 100,000, something like that, that increases your happiness a lot because you're meeting these basic needs. Once you get there, it's up to you, right? You have more wealth, you have more power, so it could help you, achieve some of these higher level needs or, these higher level aspirations that are inherently need fulfilling. Or you can use it on other things and it probably won't make you as happy, right? And in Kasser and Ryan's research, just to sum up still, in Kasser and Ryan's research, they found that wealth, fame, and image, pursuing those does make you happier, but not nearly as much as pursuing and achieving these intrinsic aspirations, right? So if we set our sights on these and use the different, things like wealth, fame, image to continue pursuing those intrinsic aspirations, that's how you're going to continue, being happy and feeling fulfilled. So if you learned something from this video, let me know. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and share with a friend. I hope that you enjoyed, and feel free if there's other videos or other questions like this that you think it would be helpful for me to talk about, then let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make a video about it. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.